Don't look out at me from behind your blinds. Come on out and see what I am made of. I know you're pretty, and I can feel a high, and I can do something with you. Neighbor, 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 think I love you. Neighbor, 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 think I love you.
Greetings.
Blessed night, Alafia.
Welcome to the Afro Trini View.
Kings and Queens.
We back. Miss Ole last week.
Yeah.
Right?
So this goes up there. We're not alone tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight we have a learning topic for me. A real learning topic for me. You know,
So we are joined tonight by my good friend and client, Mr. Darren Dickson, with all the acronyms after it. I can't remember, it's plenty. It's plenty.
Welcome. So,
Thank you,
introduce yourself to
Thank you.
the audience.
Thank you. I mean, thank you, and thank you for having me on the Gayelle. As Karen would have mentioned, my name is Darren Dickson. I think, well, I am a financial and insurance professional for the last 21 years. All right. I've also been able to lecture in the industry for about 10 to 12 years as well.
Right.
You know, so if one could ask, yes, I am versed in the topic
Nice.
of insurance.
Well, we didn't bring in no plebe here. That's the first thing.
Right, for sure.
We bring in informed persons and learned persons to come and divulge the information and, you know, break some of the myths. So tonight we're discussing insurance and some of the myths that, you know, as a community we would have heard, some would have experienced.
Sure.
We know, well, for me personally,
Yeah.
because I never sat with an insurance agent.
Right.
Even at this present time, I've never sat with an insurance agent
Right.
to get information on insurance from a professional in the industry.
Wow.
But I can say this of myself, and I know it is a thought that is echoed in the African community because I hear it up till last week.
Right.
Insurance is a scheme, is a fraud, you know. It don't work, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a big discussion in my school group about it just recently, about a month ago.
Right.
And it's the prevailing thought. But I've also heard the other side of it with people who involved in it talk about the benefits of insurance.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm saying, well, it's either we severely misinformed or something, or so it's good to have you today, and I will be doing a lot of listening tonight.
Well, it's true. It is true. It is true, Afia. There is that myth out there that insurance is a ripoff, is a fraud, and so forth. And that's because, again, it's because individuals are uninformed about insurance.
And the different types.
And the different types. Now, basically, insurance is protection.
Right.
It's a financial protection against a loss. Right.
Simply put.
Simply put, it is of monetary value as well too.
Right.
All right. So when you start thinking about, first let's go back to the origin of insurance and how this thing came about.
Right.
So this would have been many years ago when your grandfather was a boy, all right, or even before that. All right. So you would have had the trade industry was basically on the ocean.
Right.
Right, which was maritime. And so you would have had ships going to varying countries, leaving North America, going to Europe, going to different places. And there was this risk of losing cargo through storms, ships sinking, and so forth. And the wealthy realized that, listen, we're taking a hit left, right, and center. When my ship goes down, I lose all my cargo.
Right.
So they came about with the idea of pooling, right? Pooling their resources so that if somebody had a loss, it wouldn't have been felt by that one person.
Okay.
They were able to spread it across it. So it would have been a lot easier.
Right.
And that's how insurance took its form and sort of morphed into what we have today, where you have, where actually most things, most equipment, most vehicles can't move, can't travel, can't, without insurance, because somebody has to say, I am willing to cover that risk.
Right.
Right. So that's where it stands. Now, our insurance policy is just something covered with different types of arrangements as to what will give this person access or benefit to the monetary value of this insurance policy, right? So you have insurance for yourself, your family. You have insurance, car insurance. You have maritime insurance for boats. You have insurance for trucks. We never think about it. A plane can't leave the tarmac without somebody saying, we are responsible. Okay. Should lives be lost, should things be damaged, we are responsible. We will repay or help to repay or recover or put back this person in a position that they were at that point in time when they lost.
Okay.
That's basically what the insurance does.
Okay.
And you see that myth that came about, I think it happened through the interactions in the industry with individuals who were misguided.
Right.
Right. In terms of how this instrument actually does work and how it benefits not just yourself but the wider community. To go a little bit deeper in terms of how insurance is also used, because of the fact that it's an instrument that leaves generational wealth.
Okay.
Right? What it does is that it sets up an economy, it sets up a people as well. Because if there isn't wealth going forward, then the economy in itself will suffer some losses because of the fact that it's commerce, it's the buying and selling, it's having money to do that, that creates the continuation of commerce.
Right.
If there is no money going into the system, commerce is going to come to a grinding halt.
Right.
Right, GDP, well, I don't want to get too deep into that.
No,
yeah,
that's fine.
But GDP and stuff will be impaired because you need monies moving forward. You need investments and so forth. So insurance is an instrument that can be used to support families, support nations, support communities moving forward because it's a promise. It's like a promissory note.
Right.
We promise to pay
Right.
in the event that this occurs.
Right.
Right, and I can tell you point blank that the insurance companies pay.
Right.
They would have issues with persons who would have said, boy, I have insurance and I ain't get paid. Understand this: insurance companies are not here to not pay, because they're governed, one, by the central bank.
Right.
Right, there are rules, regulations, and laws that govern the operations of that.
Right.
So they have to pay.
Right.
Now, again, if you don't read your documents and if you are misinformed and thinking that this instrument is going to work this particular way and you come, it's not going to happen.
Right. And many of us don't read.
Right?
We get the policy document and from the time we hit page 2, it's like, wait, boy, we had to read all this, boy?
Yeah.
Close that, put it back in the envelope and go on.
Many persons get contracts in their hand they would have gone through the one time, and that was the one and only time they would have gone through it.
Right.
They put it down, and they would not
Look
get
at it again.
Yeah. Again, it's misinformed. Misinformed. The importance of this. I was thinking of a scenario where our people suffer because of the fact that there's no money moving forward.
Right.
We have the old adage, well, let them see for themselves.
Yeah.
Let them make their own way.
I remember as an agent, I was selling all that, you sit down and you're talking to customers and things, because I myself was an insurance agent.
Yeah, of course.
And you would sit down with African people and talk about, listen, you need a policy as a father or as a mother. Me, why leaving money for them for? They matter fight up, right? And that's a reality.
Yeah, it is.
It is a reality. And I would sit there dumbfounded because I'm saying, but why would you think like that? I didn't get nothing, nobody did nothing for me. But at the same time, when, okay, so you didn't have anything, and now you are about to leave nothing.
Right.
So you're leaving your child or your children to have no choice but to start
Again.
in the same place where you were. Versus saying, okay, let me put this little thing in place here, even if it's $100,000.
Yeah.
Right? Let me leave this in place here so that my son or my daughter and them could say, we get a little start. Even if it's at $20,000, time it split 4 ways or whatever, at least they could say, my father helped me buy a car, or he helped me do this, or he helped me do that because of the insurance policy.
Think about a step or think about a ladder, right? We've constantly keep staying on the same step.
Right.
We're not moving forward at all.
Right.
Because there's nothing to take us forward.
Yeah.
So you have, and I looked at it, you have areas that I would consider to be property that are wealthy, like in Belmont and so forth, because of the proximity to Port of Spain. All right. Now, I'm not saying that everybody there is, falls in the situation, but you have property of value, and you have persons living there that don't have money to access the value of the property. They can't go to the bank and say, listen, I want to mortgage this property or refinance this property to do certain things, because they themselves don't have the money. So you could, a father might say, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to leave a piece of property or a piece of land, which is good, but you still need money.
To develop.
You still need money, right? And that is what the insurance is. The insurance is a promise to pay. So I like to call it is the money that I wish I had, that I could actually pay for.
Right.
So you're actually purchasing money. So, and in another way, you could also look at it as a reverse loan. So I am covered for $1 million, and I'm paying towards owning that $1 million.
Right.
Now, with the loan, you pay interest to the institution. With the insurance policy, with particular insurance policy, you get interest on the policy, which gives you back value as well.
Right.
And then institutions look at that because it has value. I can now barter with it. I can say, listen, hold this policy. I want to get X, Y, and Z, and the bank will say yes, no problem. We will do that.
What is the name of that type of policy? Because I know people, they're the term policies, right, which basically have no cash value.
Yeah. So it's like, so for want of a better analogy, so your term policy is stripped down. Right? You don't have all the fringe benefits. So if you were to view a home, you have the basic things. You have the foundation, the walls, the roof, and the windows.
Right.
That's your term. It's basic. So if I was to look at that, I'm not seeing added value in terms of appreciation because it's basic, and that's what the term is. It's a stripped down, straight policy.
Right.
There's no
cash.
Right. It pays. Right. Now you have what we call a whole life policy. A whole life policy. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more in terms of cost, but it also adds a greater benefit, right, long term, because you acquire cash accumulations, of which you could actually go back and borrow from yourself.
Right.
So I was having a discussion the other day, and this came up that be your own bank. If you start a policy early enough that builds cash value, right, you can go back and borrow from yourself. And instead of paying the high price, the high rate of interest with the bank, you borrow from yourself and pay yourself back.
Right.
Right. And so those are some of the things that you can do with the policies to work for you. Then you have, then you get into the what we will call under the whole life, you'll have the name jumps out of my head right now. A variable whole life. Right. So a variable whole life again is also a designed version of insurance that allows benefits to the owner as well too. So it's not like a whole life policy, but it still gives you cash value. Right. You can have a separation of both life and savings. Right. You could also have added on critical illness onto that policy as well. Right. So it gives you the ability to design your own insurance policy and plan. Now,
before you go any further, my question on it is twofold.
Yeah.
Because it's very recently, with a discussion with a group that we are in,
right,
that I found out that last part talking about it.
Right.
That apart from the basic idea that we hear about insurance, you could also use it in that way
Right.
to benefit you, right? Where do you think the negative
Stigmas.
thought process about insurance came in when it comes to African people? Because again, this is the Afro-Trini view. And when we sit down and speak, I have yet to hear any of my East Indian families not have insurance. That is just my reality.
Okay.
Or friends, or friends of their families.
Right.
They know something of insurance and they're involved in some type of insurance.
Right.
And most of my friends and family that have insurance is the ones that forced way to about like a car, drive your car without
Right.
insurance now.
Yeah.
But you're living in a home that is yours, or your father own or your mother own, but there's no insurance on the home. Where did that myth come about that insurance is not a good thing?
I think what has happened, and I think it is, we live in a society, Trinidad and Tobago, primarily of what we call hand-me-down information. So, and then a lot of the information that's handed down is not accurate. Right? But because my grandfather said, or my father said, or my mother said, and they held some level of prominent position, I
Right.
take that information and I run with it.
Right.
They didn't insure their homes, so we don't have to insure our homes.
Right.
They believed in certain things. So basically, what has happened is that you are cultured based on your environment. Your environment cultured you to think a particular way. I like to call it financial or money veils.
Right.
So we have succumbed to money veils because of the environment, because of the persons that we listen to. So there is good and bad coming out of the hand-me-down information. And of course, you would have had one or two persons having a bad experience because, in any industry, there is always going to be someone that's unscrupulous. And unfortunately, persons would have probably met someone like that.
Yeah.
And they would have had a bad experience. And that bad experience, again, was handed down.
Right.
And Trinidadians. you know the information, it comes first hand, and then when it goes second hand, it multiplies.
Because
It
I'm
expands.
telling you, as a 40-something-year-old man, I don't know anybody besides Karen, Christopher, that would say, you need to go and see about that insurance.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, nah. How we had this matter, and then we hear we brother Valdo talking about he dealing with a customer, a client,
Right.
that's showing how he using insurance in the manner speaking about today
Yeah.
to generate wealth.
Yeah.
But right now,
Right.
not just the pass down
Yeah.
or the take care of your family,
Yeah.
in the case of something
Yeah.
unfortunate happened to you,
Yeah.
but using it immediately.
Right.
Like, how I never hear about that,
Yeah.
boy? That misinformation are doing we a bad thing there, boy.
Yeah.
But when we come back, I will explain to you how it is work. Because I have a situation I'm going through right now
Right.
that I can show you it is tangible proof
Right.
that insurance work.
Yeah.
So we're taking a break, guys. We'll be back.
Yep.
Oh, this clothing line is all about hope in the black man's mind. All about reminding us as how beautiful we are for the near of our, yeah. Oh, the clothing line features t-shirts, checks, polos and shirts. Oh, dashiki, lady V-neck, lady tank top, and baby tees, yeah. Dresses and cotton bags, and hats, and many more. Oh, and the Nubian experience.
So we are back.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So we, as I was finished, I'll be close off just now, I was explaining to you that a tangible situation where the insurance, house insurance, works, right? So about 3 Fridays ago, a drunk driver like down a mother wall.
Wow.
The whole wall.
Wow.
Not piece.
Yeah,
The whole wall.
whole thing.
Wow.
Right? So you take it, if this is the wall here, you take it from here, clean up the whole wall.
Wow.
And I get bummy because he drunk, no insurance.
Wow.
He had no car insurance. So which automatically means that the risk is on him now.
Right.
There's no company to say,
Right.
we're going to pay for the risk,
The damages.
the damages and whatever. Mommy had always insured, the property was always insured. So she said, well, all right. She pull the policy.
Right.
She called the agent, the company. She said, hey, X, Y, and Z take place.
Right.
The person said, well, all right, you need to bring these documents, bring your coat,
Yep.
everything.
Yeah.
And the process going through
Yeah.
for the wall to fix, right? And that for me, now I have also seen the other side with life policies and thing where people die and they leave a legacy, you know, and a comfortable enough legacy that you could get a nicer start, whether it's a house down payment or whatever. And that's one of the reasons I decided after hearing Dr. Umar Johnson talk about, who he was talking to, I think he was talking to Breakfast Club, and he was talking about the ability for us now, because remember, we're behind.
Right.
The community is behind.
Yeah.
And in order for us to even make any kind of headway, we have to use vehicles like,
Yeah. You're correct.
like life insurance.
You're correct.
Because that now, I imagine, all right, so I don't have no big set of savings for my children. I'm just saying, right? But today or tomorrow, anything happens to me, and I have $1 million life policy, my 4 children said,
Yeah.
and my wife, all right, she don't have to go and look for no next man in a hurry, right? She could do her thing,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
if it cover the mortgage, she pay off the mortgage, whatever. And you give them the ability and the comfort
Right.
to continue to live without that grief now.
But something you just mentioned while we was on break,
Yeah.
and I would like you to touch on.
Tell me.
Do you think it should be taught in school?
Actually, yes. I think that here's the thing about it. Now, education is an ideal platform for learning and for growing.
Right.
We go to school and we do our subjects and so forth to come out and get a job or build a career, or to assist us. And every single person that goes through school comes out and either fills the position of a manager, a laborer, someone senior in a company, the prime minister, and so forth. And everything revolves around money.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that everything revolves around is not taught of.
I love that. You better copyright that because I will be using it. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that everybody goes through education to and goes through life learning and growing to access is not taught of. And it's not understood. Well, to the level that we should understand it.
Yeah.
Especially us as our people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because while you were sharing just now there, it brought me to a claim that I had paid. This was a gentleman that I would have met many years ago. He was a single father because his wife would have passed on, and he had this son. And his concern for his son was the fact that he wanted him to further his education abroad. And because him being the only dad, the only live parent, he wanted to make sure that he had something in place.
Right.
So we met and we put things in place and so on. And lo and behold, I wasn't aware, years after, I wasn't aware that he did pass, right? And it's someone reached out, I think they were cleaning up afterwards, a couple of years after his death, and they found the policy. And they reached out to the company that I work with, and then they contacted me. Right? And here now, this young man was in Canada studying at the time, struggling because his dad had passed. And here is this policy that we were able to go and submit for a claim
Right.
for a few $100,000 that was able to help him continue his education.
Sweet. See,
Had
them is
his-
the stories we do here.
Had his father not done that,
Yeah.
what would have been this young man's position today?
He might have to drop out of school or pick up a job.
Also, based on what you now say there too, is it that we should educate our families when we do these things?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
My wife know where all the policies is.
Yeah, they
we have
must know.
one place. You have a document holder and everything is in there.
Yeah. You see, proper financial planning starts, we call it a financial pyramid, right? It starts at the bottom whereby one must understand simple money management. And money management is not just money, it's budgetary planning, it's knowing which accounts to use, how does the credit union serve my purpose, how does money market account serve my purpose, you know, should I have all my money in a bank account, right? Should I have all my money in the mattress home? You know, I would say no. If your house not insured, don't do that.
Exactly.
Because you know, if it burns down, you lose everything.
But we saw an excellent example of that this last week when the places in the bamboo burn.
Right. There we go.
Right? Let me just look at the surface. So Mr. Ishmael was making a plea to the government, oh, all in, put no fire hydrants and whatever. But the first thing first is only living on squatting land, right? Which has not been even put aside for residential living.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing is there's no tongue and country approval for nothing inside of it. Right? The third thing is all you build wall to wall to wall to wall. So if here burn, tongue and country say 8 feet from the boundary,
Everything burns.
everything is
And
going
that
to
also
burn.
means that no tongue and country approval for anything, not
Right.
just the means you can't get insured.
Correct.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. And it just shows you how
Yeah.
following the rules
Yeah.
is important.
Because insurers look at they're looking at risk. They want to give insurance, right? Because it's their business.
Right.
But at the same time, they don't want to put themselves in a position where they go out of business.
Right.
So, you know, you need guidelines in which to, especially with property insurance.
Yeah.
You need guidelines in which we were going to insure and what the risk is involved.
Yeah.
That's why in Port of Spain, in certain areas, you can't get insurance for buildings there
Yeah.
because of the proximity and the
Yeah.
age of these buildings.
Yeah.
And one goes up,
Everybody going in,
everybody
yeah.
gone.
And I listened to that on the TV and I saying, man say, boy, 20 million in business going up and thing. And I saying, but wait. So nobody had insured them place. First of all, it was not getting insurance with. The second thing is, nobody thought to put in a fire suppression system because
Yeah.
how we shifting the blame from my business
Yeah.
to everybody
Yeah.
else?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I can
Yeah.
talk about the fire safety because that was my field for nearly
Right.
20 years.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know-
I'm sympathetic to the loss.
Right?
Don't,
Yeah,
don't
of
get me
course.
wrong. Don't get me wrong.
But just like I know as insurance agents, when all they go to people, or they might feel get kind of resistance. Now, I mean in that, I have seen where I come, because one of the things I was good at when I was doing that job is, good nah, you can't have all of that day. And I ain't so extinguisher, I come in one time, hey, Mr. So-and-so, this is what I do, this is what you need. Nah, me need that, nothing never happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you have a fire extinguisher and a security guard on the compound, and they catch it in time. You see, you just save
Yeah.
your 20 million, you know.
Correct.
You know? So all of that too, I want to advise
Yeah,
our
it's-
homeowners.
And that's
You're
a form of
renting,
insurance.
whether you're renting is your own one to go with your insurance, a good working fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
is a
Because
must.
remember, it's risk mitigating, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's risk you're managing risk at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah.
And that shepherds talk about that ain't going to happen.
No.
I'm not hearing that, brother.
No.
I'm not hearing that. I am not good.
The
So
only,
I,
yeah, the only time that insurance is not going to be prevalent in our society is when we no longer get sick.
right.
We no longer die. Right? So those are so industries that will go out of business will be insurance industry, the hospitals, doctors. You know,
No, we ain't seeing that no time soon.
So you know, and people will say that, well, no, nothing going to happen to me.
Yeah.
You know, I trust in God. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's good. That's also this. You know, it's good that you have your faith and so forth.
Yeah,
but I've seen Christians die. I've seen Muslims die. I've
Yeah.
seen,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
And imagine you having a policy, I don't even want to say critical illness because they mightn't understand, but
Right.
a major medical policy.
Right.
Where, okay, today or tomorrow, hey, boy, I ain't feeling so hot now. You go by the doctor say, well, boy, hey, X, Y, and Z taking place. Surgery is 100 and something thousand. And you now faced with, so what I go and do, boy? Dead? I need to find the money. So it's barbecue, it's fundraiser, party, whatever, to try and raise the money.
Yeah.
We see it with Shell Shock, right?
Yeah.
You see it with those people.
So as you bring up that,
Tell me.
how do we, do you have any suggestions on how do we get this needed and necessary information to the African community?
I think programs like this is an avenue, and I've always been an advocate for going into community schools and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, letting the children know that, I mean, and from a career standpoint as well too, but letting them understand the fundamentals of money. Break some of the stereotypes from that standpoint, so that they will grow into society understanding the benefits of these instruments and use it wisely to make wiser financial decisions for themselves and for their families. You know, I think that's one of the ways, because I have seen over my 20 odd years in the business and in the industry that the majority of my clients didn't have insurance up to today. And I'm not talking that all my clients are 20 years now coming into the workforce. I'm talking about persons in their 40s and their 50s. They don't have insurance.
That's crazy.
If a school reach out to you, would you be willing to go to the school to
Of course,
talk to them? Right.
Yes, definitely, most definitely. I think that is a good platform to start nurturing the younger ones to understand the benefits of that instrument.
Okay.
You know, because we would spend money, because we have to insure a motor vehicle, which is a depreciating asset. But you, the asset, the main asset, you refuse to cover yourself.
See that? Stick a pin right there. Break time, folks. We'll be back. 2 minutes.
Oh, this clothing line is all about opening the black man's mind. All about reminding us as how beautiful we are for the near or far, yeah. Oh, the clothing line features t-shirts, checks, polos and shirts. Oh, dashiki, lady v-neck, lady tank top and baby tees, yeah. Dresses and cotton bags and hats and many more. Oh, and the Nubian experience.
All right,
Right,
so we
we're
are back.
Yes, we are.
We're going to open the lines shortly. But that topic we were talking about just now with regards to the main asset,
Yeah.
people don't really see themselves as the asset, you know. You making all the money, you bringing in the income, but you're spending, every 3 months you're spending $2,000 to service your car.
Yeah.
But you ain't doing that. You ain't going by the doctor on a regular basis like that. You're not, your house, you're not insuring it, right? The contents of your home, you're not insuring it. And I mean, it's a burden, eh? When you sit down and think about, God, boy, the amount of things I in my house to go and
Sit down. Yeah.
sit down and itemize them to try and get them insured. It really is it is a dread process, but it's a worthy one.
Yeah.
You understand? And understanding a lot of things. Like I never knew you can't, if you have PVC ceiling, you cannot get a house insurance.
Yeah, that's a fire. That's a
Yeah,
fire.
because it's a fire hazard.
Yeah.
You understand? So people do your homework, do your research, and that kind of thing. But I know Darren, I know you wanted to discuss something.
I know, and people would, I can't afford it,
Right.
right? Now, nobody would say you can't afford not to have it, right? But affording it really comes back down to planning,
Right.
right? Because insurance or insurance planning doesn't lend to the emotional fulfillment, right? It becomes a challenge.
Yeah.
Right. So as I tell people, I say, listen, we make more decisions emotionally about money than logically.
Right.
Right. So when you look at the cost is something that you could actually sit down with a financial planner and work into your budget.
Right.
Right. And then you start and you build. Like everything else, you start basic and you build. Because once you make that first step, you'll find that the doors start to open in other areas as well too. But if you never make that first step,
Yeah.
right, there's no reason for doors to open.
True.
Right? I mean, you can get coverage if you can start off with term coverage because you want to make sure your family is covered, and then that term can be converted into a policy that gives you cash value.
Right. Is there a limit in terms of when it could be converted?
Yeah, right. So there's a period, after the first 5 years, in some instance you could convert it, or then there's a period where just before it matures, you could convert it as well. So it's convertible into that. So it's about really sitting down and planning with someone
Right.
who knows how to the directions in terms of how to help you plan
Okay.
financially.
Right. So all look out, all in friendly neighborhood insurance agents, easy friendly neighborhood barber, easy friendly neighborhood African t-shirt man, inspired clothing man.
Yeah.
And this is your friendly neighborhood insurance agent.
Yeah.
And financial advisor.
Yeah.
Right? Stop taking all your financial situations so lightly, people. Right? I mean, and Orisha Lashe and I, when we first started this program, our goal is to enrich and empower the African people.
Yeah.
Right?
Via these discussions.
Information. Correct.
Right. I want to go back here because you mentioned talking to children and doing it in schools now. And I want to know, and I actually would like to put it to the test,
Right.
to reach out to any school of our choice and see if they would want to have somebody such as yourself
Right.
come to talk to the children, because I did principles of business as a CXC subject.
Right.
And nothing I do in that applies to running a business today.
Okay.
And I look at that as we went to school and we learned certain things,
Yeah.
but it didn't really prepare us
Yeah.
for out here now.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I am 42 years old, going to be 43 in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm working since I'm Form 4. Imagine if I had quarter weight as you sit down and talk to me here about today.
Yeah.
So my thought process is not just for me now. My thought process is for them 14 and 15-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, and I understand that. The challenge here is that we were a society that have got into this mindset of wanting everything now.
Instant gratification.
Right. And financial instruments don't work now. They need time. So financial instruments, they sit on a three-legged stool, right? And it's, for me, it's time, it's the capital investment, and it's the interest applied. And it's mathematical. You can't change it. If one is lacking, the other one needs to pull its weight.
Right.
Right. So you need time. So the earlier you start, right. So you're saying you're going to be 43. So you start at 20. You know what your policy would have been like today, over that 20-year period of compounding interest effect. So you would have had a substantial amount of money on that policy that you could have used to further do your business, bargain with for loads, and so forth. So it's time, and that's what we need to do. You talked about schools, and I actually one of my clients is a principal of a school that you guys know very well, Success Lavender, right? And I actually went to do a career day there.
Really?
Success, yeah.
Real good to hear.
That is excellent news, boy.
Real good to hear, boy.
I did one as well in Blanchisseuse as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was well received.
Yeah.
I definitely think we need more of that because I hate living in the what if.
Right.
But what if I had this information, boy? I've been working since I was about 15 years old or 16 years old with none of this kind of information.
And again, as I said, it's how we're socialized, and I mean, not to take away anything from persons' relationships with who they know, but you need to surround yourself with persons who can add value to who you are and what you're trying to create and what you're trying to become.
So this is why, for me, because there's something Karen always say, that exact same thing, right? But for me, this is why it's important to carry it to places, because I look at it this way, like, how would I surround myself with certain people if I didn't even know, if I didn't have information, not that I didn't want betterment,
Right.
right? I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to actually take it to them.
Right.
Right? So that when a 14 or 15-year-olds, I mean, these children, to me, this is my opinion, the 15-year-old today is much more intelligent than we were at 15 because they are exposed to a lot
more information, correct.
Right? I get you to come and talk to a group of 15-year-olds every 6 months. I think that alone is a big, big step in changing the way we interact with money.
Yeah. Yeah. Money rules us more than we rule it. And again, there are certain, I call it money veil or your money script, right? What you spend time hearing in your household, and if you think about it, and it may be true, but again, it impacted us negatively. So you would hear, what do you think? Money grows on tree? I'm sure plenty of people hear that.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, right? Where want me to get it from? Pull it out of the sky? So what has been spoken into that environment is a sense of scarcity and lack.
Right.
So you get older, you go to school, you have all your passes, you get a pretty good job and so forth. But your money habits behave as if you're in lack. You have persons working for $20,000, $30,000 a month, and they're broke. It's not how much money you make, but it's what you do with the money you make. They're broke because their environment taught them to that it's about either being always in debt, so you're always borrowing, right? Or you've been in an environment whereby you were so much in lack that you decided that when you get out of this, you're just going to have a good time and spend and get all the nice things. And you start making emotional decisions that don't have any financial worth or value down the road. So you find persons making lots of money and they're in debt, they have things. But when you look at, if you go in and you do the work, you realize, they're in serious financial problems. So it's not about how much, it's what you do with how much you make. That's the key thing.
Look like you have some money in mind there, boy.
Nah, just, as I say, for me, I'm real big on not wanting our young people to make some of the mistakes I made simply because they didn't have the information. When we live in a world where information is more accessible, I think we were saying something like that coming up in the man, I think it would be wrong and we'd be double failures for making certain mistakes, but getting the information at a certain stage in life, but then not trying our best to pass it on.
Yeah, there are simple things that you could do. Like I look at, like I tell to share with persons, knowing the right timing. Like the credit union is a very good leveraging institution, right? So if it is, and again, the environment has to be right. So if it is you have high interest rates in terms of returns on investments, right? And you look at that compared to the borrowing rate of return, right? You could borrow and invest.
Right.
So you're borrowing and investing, that is growing. Yes, and then with the credit union, because you've borrowed their money, your money is still there. So the money that you take or spend time taking to try to save, you use that back as a repayment. So just simple things that you could do to really take yourself out of a situation. But it's discipline, it's having a mind to do so.
And it's access to that information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in this, how much minutes we say now here, I feeling like I done learn so much and hear so much already now. Imagine for a young, impressionable 16, 17-year-old who just done right. You know my take on CXC. that exam process to me is a way to chill out just workers. Nothing more. But you imagine a 16-year-old or 17-year-old writing CXC with a good head on the shoulder and able to have this conversation, boy.
Yeah. But it speaks for itself in society. And again, I'm not knocking education, right? Because it's an important instrument in the development of everyone.
Right.
However, when you look at those persons who run and own businesses,
Here.
okay, I say no more.
Yeah.
I say no more. Yeah.
We've been convinced, because I often ask Karen, when we having certain discussion among people,
Right.
what's the requirement to be a politician? But nobody can really answer me that question.
Right.
And it's the same thing with business.
Right.
What's the requirement to be a business owner? To me, there's the requirement is a will.
Right.
It's a will.
Yeah.
You know, and
Willingness. Yeah.
then
Well, the requirement, and I would lengthen that or add to that by simply saying the willingness to be a business owner is seeing a need
right.
and making arrangement to make sure that need is met.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
You know,
Right.
so I see a need. Hey, let me see if I could organize and fulfill that need, and I start providing for the need because there are many more persons who want that need met for them, and I have a business.
We taking any calls tonight?
Yeah, we taking calls, so we could open up the lines now. While we winding down and thing, and everybody calling and
Yeah.
I mean, there's a nice topic, you know. I like it.
Yeah.
I real motivated here now.
I like talking money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm motivated enough to go back and sell it, but you know, I champion the cause in the shop, you know. So, first caller. Greetings.
Blessed night.
Welcome to the African Review.
Good night.
Yeah, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Great show as always.
Uncle Chris.
Just chime in
Christopher.
on something that you guys were talking about as a teenager. This gentleman in the middle, I mean, we should have been hearing about you long time. I remember as a 19-year-old lineman, I was a very good craftsman, and I was handling 2 jobs, working normal 8 hours and then working in the night.
Right.
I met a good insurance man named Hemley, who deceased.
Right.
I was 19 years of age, and he introduced me to insurance. I started the insurance with him.
Right.
I was only 19,
Right.
and he told me when I reach 40, this insurance will mature.
Right.
I have 19 years. You tell me about 40? After a year, I drop out of that.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Emily, come on, doing. I say, Emily, boy, me, I no time with that, you know. Gentlemen, when I reached 41, I was able to buy a piece of land. And at that time, had no money. And you know what? I looking back at the conversation I had with Emily.
Right.
Boy, when you reach 40, 41, you will have money.
Right.
And I find from 19 to 40 sound like a lifetime. I had no guidance.
Right.
So, gentlemen, great conversation, and I look on.
Nice.
Thank you very
Goodness.
much.
Thanks for calling, man.
Yeah, man.
Bless.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And we have so many real life situations. But you know, I don't understand. How come them thing don't pass on, boy.
Yeah.
How this is not a when we sit down drinking, boy.
Yeah.
In here, Frank pass, boy, and Frank leave $1 million for the children, boy.
We don't have that kind of conversation.
That ain't talking.
I just had that
Only
on a
the
wider
negative.
scale too, right? Is one of the reasons why I stopped buying newspapers.
Okay.
Let me take this one.
Blessed night.
Blessed night. Good night.
Good night. I'd like to speak to the insurance gentleman there, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm
He's
hearing
here.
But some years ago, I took out an insurance
Uh-huh.
house,
Right.
and now I'm hearing the insurance gentleman say that when you seal in those days, the house was sealed with something with wood and thing.
Right.
But 2 years ago, I put in the how they call you a thing, how you call it again?
PVC.
The PVC link.
Yeah.
Right.
And I hear the gentleman saying there now that when you put in PVC, you can't take out insurance. So what happened to my insurance now that I paid 10 years ago?
No, well, what you probably need to do is consult your the company now
Yeah.
and find out, because what will happen is most likely it will jeopardize the payment if anything happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you have
That my house was had that was already did put years ago, and now they have this PVC in the thing now. I put my house to the PVC because it's kind of reasonable.
Yes.
Right.
So now, if something happened now, I wouldn't get any money.
So what I would suggest that you do, based on who your insurers are, right? Because normally when you're renewing or you're making any improvements to the home, they should be advised as to what materials you use.
Yes.
So that they're aware of what you have in the house, and so once they consent to cover you,
Makes sense.
then that's fine. But if so you should let them know so that any arrangements.
No, but let them know. But my house was insured before my house was built long before I insured it. I insured 2 years ago.
Yes.
So what we suggest is you contact your insurance
2 years
company.
Ago, 2 years ago, I put in
The PVC.
PVC.
Right.
Right.
So what happens is, they would have given you the insurance policy based on the home at the point in time when you took it out.
Correct.
Yeah, what I have to do now? I want to know what now I should do presently as it is now.
Right. What you need to do is go to the insurance company that you're insured with and advise them on the changes that have been made and find out how it will affect your policy.
Correct.
Because I can't afford, I'm an age, do no other thing again with it.
Right. Well, I mean, ultimately, I would still suggest that you reach out to them and find out. Call the insurance company and let them know, and they will advise you on the direction from here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
You're most
welcome. You're
welcome.
welcome.
So you see,
Yeah.
so important.
Come on. I know what going there.
That is how important
Yeah, it
the
is.
conversation is.
Yeah. People need to be made aware.
I feel I answered too quick just so.
Yeah. Something that
Greetings.
Blessed night.
Greetings, yeah, this is the original uncle, only mistake.
Hey,
We realize.
we pick it up eventually. Apologies.
Good night, brother.
Good night.
Yeah, blessed night, man.
I miss the early part of the program, but please, Kings, or they just shoot me a little reminder, send me the link early o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much. But I'm loving the topic. I mean, I get the end of it basically,
Right.
but I'm loving the topic. And there was a conversation I was having with Andre, that one of the big conglomerates that we know, right, part of their success came out of our insurance policy. Yeah? You know, and we really need to educate our families, our youth,
Insurance.
educate our community about the value of insurances, you know. And your hostess mentioned on having a need and fulfilling that need. You know, whenever we see a problem, we could provide a solution to the problem. That's where businesses really, you know, are born.
That's
where
correct.
businesses are born. So Kings, you know, again, blessed, you know, keep doing, you know, what they're doing. You know, we're going to reach them. We're going to reach them.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, we're going to have a lot of millionaires coming out of the community once we
we taking that.
them like this.
We taking that. We taking that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, continue to big up.
Yeah, man.
Blessings, man.
Original
Goodness.
active.
The original.
Yeah, and I like what Nicola said because, you know, as there's something that I've learned that a business that could meet a large volume of social value is a business that will be successful. Hence the reason why Amazon is what Amazon is. Amazon has been able to touch a wide range of social values. You know, so you know. We need to understand that, and because a lot of Africans are now trying to get into business.
Yeah.
You know, and there are a lot of coaches as well, African coaches who are trying to coach persons into. You know, I have a cousin of mine who's doing that and coaching individuals into business stuff. But so it's more of that.
Yes, sir. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Blessed night.
Hello, good night. Yes, good night, sir. Is this the talk on Gayelle right now?
Yes, it is.
I would like to say something, please.
Go ahead.
I want to tell, the gentleman who was talking about teaching, going to the schools and teaching.
Yes.
I wanted to tell him, because everybody calling about different things, but this is very important for children in schools and not from sixth form. He should get them from fourth, fifth, sixth, and what have you.
Okay.
It is very, very important.
Agreed.
Okay.
Right?
Agreed.
So I want to tell him, continue to keep that, but do not go to the schools that need it. He have to go to the schools that, do not go to the schools that don't need it. He must specify schools, like the schools that need them right now, right, are the schools where children don't know anything, and he can do something very good. I'm a first-time caller, so I don't know his name, but he is the gentleman, the kind of stoutish gentleman.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think that he has a lot to offer if he would go and speak with these young people.
All right.
Okay?
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Give
Very
thanks for
much.
that.
If you could pass on my message to him.
Nah, he's hearing you. He's
I'm
hearing you.
I'm
He's
hearing you.
hearing
Thank
you.
you.
You heard me?
Yes.
Okay.
Goodness.
Well, good night, sir, and thank you.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
thanks for calling. Bye.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Totally.
1000%.
You know,
1000%.
Because you know, one of the first callers, he talked about talking to Hemley about having insurance at 19. My mother had insurance from early, and she made us take out insurance. When I was 17, I had an insurance policy.
wow.
All right, but just like the gentleman, you did know better.
Yeah.
You know, with a lapse and you know, that kind of thing. And
And that's probably because the conversation wasn't hard. She just, it was, remember them days is do as I say, not as I do.
you know, she just brought her insurance agent and says, listen, you're working out, take out a policy.
Correct.
You know, but there was no, and I think that's one of the things with our industry agents is that they aren't able to enlighten.
Yeah.
We sell.
Yeah.
We sell you a policy.
Product.
We sell a product. You know,
Pushing product.
Yeah, but help
Versus at identifying needs and satisfying needs.
and helping persons to see how this will work within their portfolio.
Yeah.
All right. He talked about it as well, and it is true. At a 19-year-old, 17-year-old can't see 40.
No.
You know, because I was there and I couldn't.
I sure as hell, I 40 now, and I
see that.
studying by when I reach here, boy, how I reach here.
But if it is, you have the conversation from a life cycle standpoint.
Yeah.
So between 19 to 30, this is what I plan on doing. So between that time, you'll need this. So if you get past 30, then between 30 and 50, or 30 and 45, what are the plans? And so if you have that kind of a conversation,
Right.
it makes more sense
Right.
than just telling you look down the road to 40. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're wrapping up as the last couple minutes of the show. I just want to say thanks, Darren, for joining us. I
You're
mean,
very welcome. I want to thank you guys for inviting me.
yeah.
Yeah.
This-
I think this is the most I want to call you ever get.
Has been very, very enlightening, I must say.
Yeah.
Because I admit, I mean, we just get kicks off right now that
Right.
I was one of them people, but you could have come to talk to me about insurance. couldn't come to talk to me about insurance, all these schemers.
Yeah. No, but I feel I could empathize with you because of the fact that before I got into the industry, I felt the same way.
Yeah.
I felt the very same way. I mean, as an insurance person come to talk to me, I look in the next direction, I go on.
Yeah.
But when I got into it and I started to study and understand, try to understand, my thing was understanding money and how it works, and it just blew up from there.
Yeah.
You know.
So my biggest takeaway from this year, boy, is that education and information to our young African children, our young black children, about how important this is and how well it will, not could, it will work for us.
Yeah, but I want to enhance that and saying this, that children don't do what they're told. They do what they see.
Yes.
So it's important for us, for them to see us sitting down with somebody, doing a policy, doing certain things, because they will emulate what they see, not what we tell them.
Agreed.
So we need to be the examples.
So it's not a scheme, as most of us thought.
Yeah.
And it's in our one insurance company, it's in our one insurance agent.
Yes, there are many.
Yeah, each of we can reach out and start this process, boy. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if only on Facebook, just type it in, and I'm sure you will be surprised to see
Oh, there are tremendous amount of
how
information.
many of them that there and who may be close to you that you could talk to and reason with and get them to, you know, help you plan your future and that kind of thing for your family. You know, so let's take it a little more serious, folks. As I always say, let us live with purpose. And yeah.
And I'm not a stranger to helping person, so if you need, you can reach out to Colonel Lafayette and you know.
Yeah. Call out the number, get them a number, tell them you can reach them.
My number, you can reach me at 680-3558.
So 680-3558.
Yeah, that's Darren Dickson.
Right, Darren Dickson. So folks, it was a lovely episode.
Yeah, it was great. This one was, yeah.
Right?
And be safe out there.
Yes, please.
Live in love.
Live in love.
Right? More life, more goodness, more good health. Yeah? Thank you, brother.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Goodness.
Yeah.
We out.
Yeah, peace.